r/creepyencounters posted BYU/favorable_stimulus 20 hours ago when a gut feeling saves you from the man waiting for you in a doorway. So this is a story from around 10 years ago. I was 16/17 at the time, but I recently discovered the sub and it instantly brought these memories flooding back to me. At the time I kind of just brushed it off because nothing bad ended up happening to me and put it down to I guess shit just happens to you when you are a woman walking alone at night. But looking back now I realize how creepy it really was. I was coming home on my own on a Thursday night after being out at a pub with some friends. We had been out a little more centrally in the city, so I had to take a bus on my own to get home to my residential neighborhood. I had done this route hundreds of times, so I didn't see it as being particularly dangerous, especially as I live in a fairly nice neighborhood. It was only about 11 p.m. but because I lived in a residential area, and it was the middle of the working week, when I got off the bus at my stop it was absolutely dead and there was no one around. Again, this didn't spook me, particularly as it is only about a 5/10 minute walk from the bus stop to my house. As I turned down a long residential street that leads towards my house, I noticed a guy walking further down the street. This put me a little on edge, but I was reassured by the fact that he had his back to me and was walking away from me down the street. As I kept walking down the street I noticed the guy turn around and clock me. That's fine, I thought. I always turn around when I hear someone walking behind me at night, so nothing weird about that. But I noticed as we got further and further down the street he kept doing it, kept checking I was still walking in the same direction as him. At this point I'm starting to get pretty freaked out, particularly as I am painfully aware that we are the only two people around. Just as I was weighing up what I should do, he turned down the path of one of the houses to our right and I breathed a sigh of relief. He is going into his house. I was just being paranoid the whole time. The houses in my area are terraced, with the front doors being kind of embedded into an enclave at the front of the house. What this means is that from where I was standing, about 50 feet away, I couldn't actually see the front door of the house, as it was obscured by the wall. However, I saw him walk down the path and disappear into the front door enclave, so my logical conclusion was that he was letting himself into his house. I can't describe exactly what made me feel like this, but after that initial feeling of relief wore off I suddenly got this really bad feeling, so I stopped walking and just stood there. There was this tiny voice in my head that said, what if he is just faking you out? The feeling became so strong that I stepped off the pavement and ducked down behind a parked car and just waited. After a couple of minutes of crouching behind the car staring at the house, I saw movement and my heart stopped. The man came back down the path, out into the street, and was looking around, looking for me. He must have been waiting for me in the doorway, knowing that if I kept walking I wouldn't see him until it was too late. Unfortunately for him, his hiding place also meant that he couldn't see me, so when I didn't walk past as he anticipated, he had to come back out into the street to try and work out where I was. Looking back now, I probably should have called the police at this point, but as a scared teenager my fight or flight brain took over and I sprinted down one of the roads running perpendicular to the street that we were on, as I knew I could use it to take a slightly longer route home. I didn't stop running until I got home, where I quickly double-locked the door behind me. Amazingly, I didn't even think to wake anyone in my family up. I literally just went to bed and then woke up the next morning and went to school. I dread to think what would have happened if I hadn't just suddenly got a bad feeling and stopped walking. Part of me thinks that on some subconscious level my brain must have registered not hearing the front door shut after the man had approached it and therefore triggered an alarm in my head, but I had no perception of this at the time. Lesson learned: trust your gut. Got followed by a man who wanted to buy 15-year-olds drinks at the bar. This one's kinda long, but one time when I was 15 I had taken out my mom's car, probably around 11 to 12 p.m., and drove myself and 3 friends down to 6th Street, which is a popular bar street downtown where I live. I was really dumb at that age, and thought I could do anything without consequence. I don't know what we were thinking. It's not like we could get into a club. We all looked like 12-year-olds trying to look old. Our main goal was to get good pictures and maybe a free drink. I know, terrible, I remember walking past this one bar and this man came out saying he had a whole bucket of alcohol inside the bar and that we could come drink with him inside. We lied and said we can't because we were all 18 and didn't have a fake ID or anything. One of my friends said they were 17 too, just to make it seem more realistic I guess, but he still insisted that he could get us in, that he knew the bouncer and that we could also go to his condo not too far away afterwards and hang out with him and his friends. We were still saying no, and keep in mind this man was saying this stuff right in front of everyone at the bar / outside of it. He also looked old and we really were not interested. He still went over and asked the bouncer anyways. Of course, the bouncer took one look at us and said no. But one of my friends really wanted alcohol, so she insisted the guy bring some out or pass it over the gate to us. When he walked back into the bar we just started walking away. We ended up getting some lady to buy us drinks further down the road at a bar that wasn't busy and she put them in to-go cups for us. We started walking back to where I had parked my car until I realized that someone was behind us and it's literally the same man from the bar trying to wave us down. When we noticed this we all looked at each other. I could tell we were all thinking the same thing. We kept walking and took a shortcut in this alleyway, and he kept following. Now he wasn't saying anything or flagging us down, just getting a lot faster. So we started running when we turned the next corner, and didn't look back until we got to this gas station not too far from where I parked my car. One of my friends said when she looked behind us he was running too. I don't know what his plan was, but we never saw him pass by the gas station or anything, which scared us more. We probably stayed in that gas station for like 45 minutes and thank God the lady working was really nice and even offered to go get my car. But I said no since it was just right around the corner, and plus it was my mom's car. When we finally decided to go out and run to the car I literally stopped in my tracks so fast and got the worst feeling ever washed over me because when I looked across the road into the almost empty lot, there he was, standing, motionless next to my car, crunched over looking into the window. How did he know which one was my car? We all ran back into the gas station, told the lady, and thank God for her because she came out with a damn baseball bat swinging it around and yelling at the top of her lungs, "Get away from my car." As soon as he heard that and the fact that we're calling the cops, he ran away. She walked us to the car and told us to make sure he didn't put any trackers, which is something we didn't even think about. She also checked for us and told us to just get out of here and make sure no one's following us. Best gas station employee ever, BTW. We never even saw his friends he was supposedly with. I've never driven away so fast in my life. We drove all the way back home pretty silently and we were really paranoid when we got home that he followed us. We kept an eye out on the road, and never ended up calling to cops or anything, because I had taken my mom's car out and done all of that, and we never saw him again. Definitely one of the scariest experiences when I was young though. Moral of the story: don't be dumb and go to somewhere with only people over the age of 21 everywhere when you're like 7 years younger than that trying to be cool. I regret most of my childhood loudly crying face.